We also agreed that it is imperative to find a solution to this conflict and to avoid escalating it in any way or seeing it intensified by forces beyond anybody's control.
That was Secretary of State John Kerry and his Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. They were holding a presser just moments ago, and I want to take also listen now to just the utter chaos in the Syrian city of Homs. This is earlier. Russia made their move. Russia made their move, military move, airstrikes. They began in this region. They said it was part of their plan to fight terrorism. A Russian official even asked American military aircraft to avoid Syrian airspace altogether during the operation. That request was denied. This, of course, after President Putin met with President Obama just 2 days ago to discuss where Russia was and their military buildup in Syria and what the role of Bashar Assad would play. Joining me now, Colonel Ralph Peters, Fox News strategic analyst. Colonel Peters, let's start with this press conference that just went on. The sound bites that I've heard and some of the quotes that I've seen are absolutely extraordinary. We seem like we have our heads completely in the sand on this thing.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we have a Secretary of State whose idea of negotiation is to walk in and offer the other guy his wife, his dog, and his underwear. We have a president. We don't have a president. We have a scared little boy sitting in a movie theater showing a horror film and covering his eyes. He can't look at the reality in front of him. Charles, we've never seen anything quite like this in American history. And you heard Kerry in the clip you played saying, well, we've got to avoid escalation. What the Finland firecrackers does he think he just saw? The Russians move into Syria. They're attacking our supposed allies on the ground, the guys we're backing. They're warning us to get out of the skies. I mean, and the next escalation or down the road may well be that Putin orders a shoot down of a U.S. drone or even a U.S. or allied manned aircraft, knowing this president will not respond. You were talking in the previous segment about a Black Swan event. It may be a MiG-30 or a Sukhoi 34 event, a Russian aircraft event. I mean, what Putin's doing is transparent.
It is transparent. It is transparent, Colonel Peters, and it didn't creep up on us. Over a year ago, they began building the second base, Latakia. They put in the anti-aircraft missiles, the kind of things that you obviously aren't putting in to fight ISIS. And so the president was shocked today when their first targets were rebels that we were hoping would overthrow Assad at some point. Yeah,
indeed. And, people see what they want to see. And the Obama administration doesn't want to see any of this. They still don't want to see that, Islam is part of Islamist terrorism. But the fundamental issue here is that Putin isn't hard to understand. He's perfectly clear if you just pay attention. If you know anything about the Russians, Putin's background, his ambitions, and while he is saying for global consumption that he's in this to fight ISIS and shoulder the burden of civilization, he's not attacking ISIS. He's attacking everybody between Assad and ISIS to wipe out anything that looks like a moderate opposition so he can present the world with a choice: Bashar al-Assad or Islamic State. That's his short-term goal. Shore up Assad. But the administration keeps looking at things in bits and pieces, as if Iraq and Iran and Syria and Lebanon aren't interrelated. Putin's got a coherent, long-term strategic vision of a belt, a Shia Muslim belt, from Lebanon to Iran, from Iran back to the Mediterranean Sea, that is dominated by Iran, Russia-friendly, anti-U.S., overshadows our Sunni clients and allies, and intimidates Israel. And he is well on his way to his success, and there is no opposition, no meaningful opposition from the Obama administration, and John Kerry is still saying, well, we don't want escalation. Give me a break.
In your column coming out, I think, in tomorrow's New York Post, I've got a draft of it. You say Vladimir Putin is a force of nature, and he's using a rusty military to change the world. And then, of course, you refer to President Obama as being astonished and sulking like a high school girl stood up by her boyfriend. Is that exactly what we're witnessing here?
Yeah, I mean, Obama thought he had this wonderful deal with Putin above the heads of the American people, and he didn't. He got stood up. But Putin, Western elites, the effete elites, still write off Vladimir Putin, even now, because he has bad table manners and didn't go to the right prep school. He is a force of nature. This guy, who we chronically underestimate, he took a broken country, a diseased, decaying country with a rust bucket military, and in just over a decade has turned it into at least the semblance of a great power, a competitor to the U.S. And as for that military, Russia really has two militaries. There's a small core military that's pretty good and well equipped. That's what you're seeing in Syria. Beyond that, there's a big military that's just full of junk. But Putin is able to get away with just wielding that small military and backing us down.
But here's the thing, and we were told that we did win the Cold War. We were the lone world superpower, and we're squandering that. The idea that we have shrunk our military down dramatically to, post right around World War II levels, that President Obama has been so reluctant to use military force to enforce the rule of law around the world, to keep people protected from Christians on to allies. It doesn't matter, though. It really does not matter, Colonel Peters, if everybody in the world knows we're reluctant to use the power that we have.
Well, that's right. And what's astonishing about President Obama isn't that he came to the presidency with naivete. It's that in almost 7 years, he's learned nothing. His worldview is still this romantic, bleeding heart, undergraduate view of how things work. He still believes that, despite all evidence, he still believes that words change everything. Words can fix everything. He believes the old lie that the pen is mightier than the sword. Try stopping a bullet with a beautiful compound sentence. The world doesn't work like that. Putin deals with reality. Obama lives in a fairy tale castle, and he's pulling up the drawbridges.